Okay, so when you're running a virtual desktop infrastructure, security is, well, it's everything, right? But what if I told you one of the biggest risks isn't some new, sophisticated external threat, but something that actually ships right out of the box? We're about to dive into a hidden corner of VDI security and uncover a really powerful, built-in tool that might just be the key to locking down your entire environment.
So if I ask you, what's the weakest link, your mind probably jumps to firewalls, user passwords, maybe a misconfiguration somewhere. But what if the biggest vulnerability isn't something you added, but something you just overlooked? It's the very foundation of trust between your users and your servers, and believe it or not, it's been there since day one.
For way too long, managing security certificates in VDI has felt like this chaotic mess, right? You're juggling manual configurations, command line tools, and one wrong move could expose you to something nasty, like a man-in-the-middle attack. But what if you could trade all that chaos for centralized control, where security is streamlined and it's all handled right from your console?
And the source of all this potential chaos? It's something deceptively simple. The default certificates that come with every fresh Horizon installation. Now look, they're there to get you up and running fast, and that's great. But leaving them in a production environment, that's kind of like leaving the factory default password on your home router. You just wouldn't do it.
See, these default certificates are what we call self-signed. And to get why that's a problem, just imagine you printed your own ID badge on your computer and then tried to use it to get into a secure building. The security guard would just laugh at you, right? Of course, because it hasn't been verified by a trusted authority. A self-signed certificate is pretty much the server equivalent of that homemade ID.
And here's the real kicker. These untrusted, homemade certificates, they have a 6-month fuse. Every single half year, they expire. This forces admins into this tedious manual renewal process that carries a real risk of system downtime, or, even worse, a critical security lapse. It's a constant headache.
But here's the best part. The solution to this recurring problem isn't another line item on your budget. It's not some expensive third-party tool you have to go buy. The fix, it's already built right into the Horizon platform you're probably using every single day.
It's called the Omnisa Horizon Certificate Management Tool. And if you're running Horizon version 2012 or anything newer, this powerful feature is already sitting there in your environment, just waiting for you to use it. So what is it exactly? Well, it's a centralized utility that gives you control over the entire life cycle of your security certificates. And the crucial part is, it handles everything, from your internal connection servers to your internet-facing unified access gateways, your UAGs, all from one single place. And this is the real game changer. No more messing with command line tools, no more jumping between different servers to get things done. Everything is managed directly inside the Horizon console. It turns what was a complex, risky process into a simple, integrated workflow.
Remember that homemade ID badge we talked about? An SSL certificate is just the digital version of that. The problem with the default one is that the server basically made its own badge. Our goal is to replace it with an official one that's been issued and verified by a trusted global authority, what we call a certificate authority or a CA.
And the tool makes this process so incredibly straightforward. It breaks it down into 4 simple steps. First, you generate a certificate signing request, or a CSR. You can think of that as the application form for your official ID. Second, you send that application to a trusted certificate authority. Third, they sign it, verify it, send it back, and you just import it into Horizon. And finally, number 4, you can manage the whole lifecycle right from the console when it's time to renew. It's that easy. And the end result of all this is what's known as maintaining the chain of trust. It means that when a user connects, their device can actually verify your server's identity all the way back to a trusted root authority. For the user, this means no more scary browser warnings. And for you, it means a secure, verified connection you can count on.
So what's the actual payoff for doing this? Oh, it's huge. First, you dramatically enhance security because you're shutting the door on those man-in-the-middle attacks. Second, you achieve compliance because, let's be honest, most security audits are going to demand trusted, CA-signed certificates. And finally, you just create a more stable, reliable environment for your users, getting rid of those frustrating connection errors.
So if you're ready to lock in those benefits and go check your own console right now, that is awesome. But hold on. Before you dive in, there are just a couple of practical details you really need to know to get started.
First thing, a little heads up on permissions. This isn't turned on for administrators by default. You actually have to go and specifically create a role with the Managed Certificates privilege. And second, there's a key limitation to be aware of. If your organization uses ECDSA certificates, this tool in Horizon 8 does not currently support them. That is a critical technical check you've got to make before you start.
So ultimately, Omnisa Horizon gives you the native tool you need to completely transform your certificate management. It lets you finally move away from that manual, risky, recurring process and into a future of centralized, simple, and secure control.
And that really just leaves us with one final thought. Take a good hard look at your own environment. Right now, is your certificate management an asset that's actively strengthening your security, or is it a forgotten liability, just sitting there, waiting to cause the next major outage? The tool to fix it is already in your hands.